The music played, guests whispered, the groom waited at the altar, but the bride, she vanished. No goodbye, no note, no trace. Minutes later, what they discovered shocked everyone. What could drive a woman to walk away from love, wealth, and the life everyone dreamed of just before saying "I do"? Before we dive in, hit like, subscribe to this channel, and share, because some mysteries aren't just heard, they're felt. Stay with me. This disappearance will leave you speechless. Her name was Amina. In her small but lively town, Amina was known for something rare. She carried warmth everywhere she went, the kind of warmth that made strangers feel like family and turned ordinary moments into something unforgettable. She wasn't the loudest in the room, nor the most dramatic, but when she smiled, people noticed. When she spoke, people listened. And when she loved deeply. Amina worked as a tailor, a craft she learned from her late mother. Every stitch she made felt personal, almost like she was sewing pieces of her heart into every dress. Brides especially loved her work. Ironically, she had made wedding dresses for so many others long before her own day arrived. Her dream was simple. Not wealth, not fame, just love and peace. And for a long time, it seemed like she had found it. His name was Sadiq. Sadiq wasn't rich. He didn't drive expensive cars or wear flashy clothes, but he had something far more valuable. He understood Amina. He knew how to make her laugh on her worst days, how to sit with her in silence without making it uncomfortable, how to remind her that she was enough. They had grown together over the years. What started as friendship slowly became something deeper, something real. People in the town would often say, if there's any couple meant to last forever, it's those two. And for a while, it truly felt that way. But life has a way of testing even the purest kind of love. Amina's world, once simple and predictable, was about to change. Not with a loud warning, but with quiet pressure, subtle expectations, and a choice she never thought she would have to make. Because sometimes the hardest decisions aren't between right and wrong. They're between what you feel and what the world tells you to choose. Keep watching, because Amina's story is about to take a turn that will change everything.
Mornings in Amina's town were always alive with energy. The sound of traders calling out their goods, children running through dusty streets, and the distant hum of motorcycles filled the air. It was a place where everyone knew everyone, and where every decision you made, somehow, it became everyone's business. Amina's small tailoring shop sat just at the corner of a busy street. It wasn't big, but it was always full. Colorful fabrics hanging from the walls, half-finished dresses neatly arranged, and the steady rhythm of her sewing machine echoing through the room. She loved it there. And almost every evening, just before sunset, Sadiq would stop by. Sometimes with roasted corn, sometimes with nothing but stories from his day. They would sit outside her shop, laughing, teasing each other, talking about the future like it was something they could hold in their hands. "Soon," Sadiq would say, "I'll build you a bigger shop, one with glass windows." And Amina would laugh. "I don't need glass windows. Just don't forget me when you become rich." It was light, easy, real. But not everyone saw it that way. Amina's aunt, who had practically raised her after her mother passed, had different ideas about what her future should look like. "Amina," she would often say, "love is good, but love doesn't pay bills." At first, Amina would brush it off, smile, change the subject. Until one day, everything shifted. A new man arrived in town. His name was Al-Haji Karim. He was everything Sadiq was not, wealthy, influential, and powerful. His presence alone turned heads. He owned businesses across the city, drove luxury cars, and spoke with the quiet confidence of someone used to getting what he wanted. And then he noticed Amina. It started subtly, a compliment here, a generous gesture there, expensive fabrics delivered to her shop, offers to support her business. At first, Amina was uncomfortable, but her aunt, she saw opportunity. "This is your chance," she whispered. "Do you want to struggle all your life?" The pressure began to grow. Friends started talking, neighbors started watching, even customers began to ask questions. "Is it true the rich man is interested in you?" Amina laughed it off, but inside, something was changing. Not her love for Sadiq, but her confidence in the future they were building. Because for the first time, she began to wonder, what if love wasn't enough? Don't go anywhere, because the choice Amina makes next will shock you.
The tension didn't arrive all at once. It built slowly, quietly, like a storm forming behind clear skies. At first, it was just conversations. "Amina, think about your future," her aunt would say more often now, her tone firmer than before. "Love is sweet today, but tomorrow is reality." Amina would sit silently, her fingers tracing the edge of her fabric, unsure of how to respond. Because deep down, she understood what her aunt meant. Sadiq was trying, yes, he worked hard. He had plans, dreams, but dreams took time, and time was something the world around her didn't seem willing to give. Then came the comparisons. "Look at Kareem," her aunt continued one evening. "He can give you everything instantly. Comfort, security, respect. You won't have to struggle." That word again, struggle. It lingered in Amina's mind long after the conversation ended. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, her thoughts tangled between two worlds. In one, she saw herself with Sadiq. Simple life, laughter, peace, but uncertainty. In the other, she saw a life she had never imagined for herself. Luxury, stability, admiration, but something felt missing. The next day, Sadiq noticed the change. "You've been quiet," he said gently as they sat outside her shop. "Is something wrong?" Amina forced a smile. "Nothing, I'm just tired." But Sadiq knew her too well. "This is about him, isn't it?" he asked, his voice lower now. She didn't answer immediately, and that silence said everything. Sadiq looked away, nodding slowly, as if confirming something he had been afraid to admit. "I can't compete with that kind of money, Amina," he said quietly, "but I can promise you something real." His words hung in the air between them. Real. For a moment, Amina felt a wave of emotion rise in her chest. She wanted to hold on to that word, to believe it was enough. But then her aunt's voice echoed in her mind again. "Tomorrow is reality." "What if real isn't enough?" she whispered, almost to herself. Sadiq turned to her, hurt flashing across his face. "Since when did you start thinking like that?" Amina didn't answer, because she didn't have an answer. Days passed, and the pressure only grew stronger. Al-Haji Kareem became more direct. His visits were no longer occasional. They were intentional, confident, assured. "I want to take care of you," he told her one afternoon, placing a small box on her table. Inside was a necklace, gold, heavy, expensive. Amina stared at it, her heart racing, not from excitement, but from the weight of what it represented. This wasn't just a gift, it was a decision waiting to be made. That evening, her aunt didn't even try to hide her excitement. "This is it, Amina," she said. "Do you know how many girls are praying for this kind of opportunity?" Amina sat quietly, the necklace still in her hands. Her mind drifted to Sadiq, his laughter, his promises, his honesty, and then back to Kareem, his certainty, his power, his world. 2 lives, 2 futures, 1 choice. And slowly, painfully, Amina began to lean toward the one that made the most sense, even if it didn't feel right. Keep watching, because the decision Amina makes next will change her life forever and lead to the moment she vanished.
The decision didn't happen in a single moment. It unfolded slowly, like something Amina kept trying to delay, until one day she couldn't anymore. When she finally said yes to Alhaji Karim, it wasn't with excitement, it was with silence, a quiet surrender. The news spread quickly through the town. Some celebrated her, some envied her, others whispered, "What about Sadiq?" But no one asked her that directly. No one asked how she felt. Preparations for the wedding began almost immediately, and just like everything else Karim did, it was grand. Expensive fabrics filled Amina's once modest shop. Designers from the city came in. Gold jewelry, imported shoes, luxury decorations. Everything was carefully chosen to create a wedding people would talk about for years. And yet, in the middle of all that beauty, Amina felt strangely distant, like she was watching someone else's life unfold. Sadiq didn't come around anymore. At first, she told herself it was for the best, that it would make things easier. But at night, when everything was quiet, she felt it, the absence. One evening, just a week before the wedding, she found something at her doorstep, a small package. Inside was a simple bracelet, the one Sadiq had given her years ago. No note, no message, just the bracelet. Amina held it tightly, her chest tightening as memories flooded back. Laughter, late evenings, promises whispered under fading sunlight. For a moment, everything felt real again. And then it slipped away. The wedding day arrived faster than she expected. The entire town seemed to gather. Music filled the air. Decorations shimmered under bright lights. Cameras flashed. People smiled, laughed, admired. "It's like a dream," someone said. But Amina didn't feel like she was dreaming. She felt trapped in between two versions of herself. Inside the bridal room, everything was calm but heavy. Her dress was perfect, her makeup flawless, her reflection almost unrecognizable. "You look beautiful," her aunt said, adjusting her veil. Amina nodded slowly, but her hands trembled. "Are you okay?" one of the bridesmaids asked. "I just need a moment," Amina replied softly. She stepped away, just for a second, just to breathe. Outside, the noise of the celebration felt distant, muted. Her heart pounded in her chest as thoughts rushed in all at once. Is this really what I want? Am I making a mistake? Is it too late to turn back? And then something shifted. A memory. Sadiq's voice. "I can promise you something real." Amina closed her eyes. For the first time since everything began, she allowed herself to feel the truth she had been avoiding, and it scared her. Because deep down, she knew this wasn't the life she had dreamed of. Footsteps approached in the distance, voices calling her name. "Amina, it's time!" Her eyes opened, but something had changed, something final. Back inside the hall, the music continued. The groom stood at the altar, calm, composed, confident. Guests leaned forward, waiting for the moment she would walk in. Minutes passed, then more. Whispers began to spread. Where is she? Her aunt checked the bridal room. Empty. The bridesmaids searched the corridors. Nothing. Panic slowly replaced excitement. Amina? Amina! And just like that, the bride was gone. Don't look away now, because what happened after Amina disappeared is where this story takes a shocking turn.
At first, no one wanted to believe it. "There must be a mistake," her aunt insisted, her voice shaking. "She was just here." But as the minutes stretched into something heavier, reality began to settle in. Amina hadn't just stepped away, she had disappeared. The music stopped, guests stood up, murmuring, confusion spreading like wildfire. Karim's expression changed for the first time that day. The calm confidence faded, replaced by something colder. "Find her," he said sharply. Phones came out, calls were made, people searched every corner of the venue, every nearby street. Nothing. No sign of her. Then, someone noticed something. Near the back exit of the building, lying quietly on the ground, was her veil, and beside it, her shoes. A ripple of shock moved through the crowd. "She didn't just leave," someone whispered. "She ran." But why? Hours passed. The celebration turned into an investigation. Questions replaced laughter. Speculation replaced joy. Some said she got scared. Others said she was kidnapped. A few believed something else entirely. Then, just when it felt like the mystery would remain unsolved, a message surfaced. Not a public one, a private one, sent earlier that morning to someone no one expected, Sadiq. The message was simple. "I'm sorry for everything. I can't do this. I should have listened to my heart. Forgive me." That changed everything. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about a missing bride. It became something deeper, a choice, a regret, a turning point. But the question remained, where did she go? Days turned into weeks. No one saw her. No one heard from her. It was as if she had vanished completely. Kareem withdrew from the public eye, his pride wounded, his anger unspoken but visible. The town never forgot. Every conversation somehow led back to that day, the bride who disappeared. And then, months later, a small piece of the truth finally emerged. Not from the police, not from Kareem, but from someone unexpected. A trader in a neighboring town claimed to have seen her. "At first, I wasn't sure," the woman said, "but then she smiled, and I recognized her. Amina, alive, different. She wasn't dressed in luxury anymore. No jewelry, no expensive fabrics, just simple clothes and a quieter presence. But there was something else, something people hadn't expected. Peace. She hadn't returned to Sadiq. She hadn't chosen Kareem. Instead, she had chosen something entirely different. Herself. She had left everything behind, the pressure, the expectations, the noise, to start again. Somewhere no one knew her story. Somewhere she could finally breathe. The truth shocked everyone, not because she left, but because of what she chose after leaving. Stay to the end, because what Amina's story teaches might change the way you see love, choices, and life forever. In the end, Amina didn't become the rich man's wife, and she didn't return to her first love. Instead, she became something else, free. But freedom came with the price. She lost the life she knew, the people she loved, the version of herself everyone expected her to be, and in its place, she found something quieter, something honest. Time passed. The story slowly faded from daily conversation, but never completely disappeared, because deep down, people understood. Amina's story wasn't just about a wedding. It was about choice, about what happens when you ignore your heart for too long and what it costs to finally listen to it. Some say she made the right decision. Others believe she lost everything. But maybe the truth is somewhere in between, because not every ending is meant to be perfect. Some endings are meant to be real. And sometimes walking away isn't weakness. It's the bravest thing you can do. Somewhere in a quiet place far from the noise of that day, Amina lives a different life now. No spotlight, no expectations, just peace. In the end, Amina didn't follow love or wealth. She chose herself. A quiet freedom replaced the chaos, teaching us that courage isn't always loud, and sometimes walking away is the bravest choice of all. If this story moved you, hit like, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who loves mysteries. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done in Amina's place and where you're watching from. I can't wait to read your thoughts.